It's time for the Snap.Build cast, your podcast focused on home builders of all sizes and offering professional views of experts in the home building industry, from financing to final walkthroughs. Thanks for joining us. Let's get building.
Welcome to Snap.Build podcast. I'm Michael D'Antonio, and I'm here with Brad David, EVP of Snap.Build. Hi, Brad. How are you?
Doing great, Michael. How you doing?
Awesome. So we're hitting November, first week in November, as we're doing this podcast. And all businesses, right, are thinking about the last 2 months of the year and also what next year will look like. So in the residential building sector, in the industry of construction and in home building, today's topic's really about what builders should be thinking about for Q4, and then what is that planning and thinking look like for next year, and how should they be going about their planning for looking at the year?
Sure, absolutely. Well, one thing before we get going, I do want to at least reference, you know, down here, I'm coming off Hate Week, where we went down to the Georgia-Florida game. And, so that's really what has been top of mind. We've now put that to bed. I also understand, though, this week is Dallas week for you there. So I've been a little concerned about how focused you'd be. So I'm glad to at least know that you're going to focus on what we need to focus on, but we'll probably
Yes,
keep this rather
yes,
brief. So I get it for sure. I
yes.
understand.
Dallas week, for those that don't know, in Philadelphia is when the Philadelphia Eagles play the Dallas Cowboys. It's known as Dallas week. So yes.
There you go. There
All
you
right.
go. No, I think it's a great topic. This time of year, builders are really doing a couple of things. They're looking at, okay, we have these projections for 2023. What can we do to get hay in the barn, so to speak? Are we going to make our numbers? What can we do to push to accomplish, whether it's volume goals, total closings, those kind of things. So that's one of the focuses that the builder has. Um, a lot of deals have been now pushed to the end of the year. I think subconsciously that's just the way things work. And so the holidays are challenging for all the obvious reasons. You want people to be with family and celebrate through the holidays, Thanksgiving in November, and then obviously in December you've got Hanukkah and Christmas and all those considerations. And so everybody's pushing, and you have these built-in barriers to getting things accomplished. So that's a challenge. But that's what builders are doing. They're talking about all of their projections for 2024 and 2025, because most builders are doing two things. They've got to project the number of units that they want to try and build and close next year. And that's everybody from the 5 unit a year guy to the 500 unit a year guy. It's still the same. And so they're looking at, what's my lot inventory look like, because lot inventory is what feeds the beast. And so they have nailed down or are in the process of securing all the lots they need for 2024, and also looking at development deals, lot commitments for 2025. So really, builders just have a lot of different channels that they're focused on, and they're reviewing, hey, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What do our margins look like? Why are margins up, down? Unfortunately, in the current environment, what most guys are seeing is some margin erosion. It's due to increased financing costs, a little bit of carry cost, all those kind of things. And so there's a lot that a builder's looking at the end of the year, and just trying to navigate all that stuff. I know I tend to always focus on all the things a builder has to do, but I'm still amazed by some of our clients that how good they are at segmenting the things they've got to do, and hopefully we're a resource for them to help.
Yeah, and you talked about, and we talk about football and offline, but like you separate, as an athlete, right? You're an athlete, but you're also a person, right? Builders has businesses they're running, but they also have their personal life during the holidays and entering the new year,
Yeah.
right? It's they that juggling of all these things from a business perspective, life perspective, personal perspective. What are there any key barriers that come at the end of the year that you've seen in the industry or in your experience?
Sure. Some of the things we talked about, holidays are difficult to work around for all the reasons. If you're trying to get closings done, you're navigating, subs, and everybody's tired at the end of the year. It's been a long grind. Most of these guys, especially in the Sun Belt, have worked hard through these, summer months. It's hot, you're tired. I mean, it's just there's a lot of things that take a toll on builders. And by builders, I mean their entire organization and all the guys that work in their in their structure. So that's one thing. Everybody that's involved in the process, whether it's a lender like us or closing attorneys, all those people, same considerations. They've had a full year. They're trying to wind down, enjoy the holidays. People taking time off. So it's just like this mad dash to the end, and you're dodging all these things coming at you. So, from a construction perspective, it's again the pace is a little bit slower. The weather is a bigger factor. It's colder. It's easier to build houses when it's hot and sunny. When you get into the winter and you start getting some rain, start getting some cold in our northern markets, and again, just challenges.
Absolutely. And flipping that, in your experience, what has worked on that, knowing that these things and these barriers are coming in Q4 and you're trying to project into 2024 and into that next year, what are some things from your experience that you've done that you've thought when you looked back that you've been successful in saying, wow, I'm really glad I did that planning, or I'm really glad I did that scoping, right?
It certainly helps to be realistic about your projections. And by that, I mean, you have to understand certain things are just not going to happen as you ease into November, December. It's not as easy to drive your projections the way that you think you should be able to. So from experience and history, you just realize if I think I'm going to close 10 units in December, it's probably going to be 8 or 9. And that just scales depending on the size of the business. And so you got to be realistic about what you can accomplish. You have to take into account how hard you have kind of ridden your team throughout the course of the year. To me, that's always a big consideration. You can't always be 100% just, under the gun. That's not a healthy way to run businesses. And that means for a builder, that's his internal team, but it's also the community of people that work with him, whether it's concrete guys or framers or sheetrockers. You can't ride them 12 months out of the year. At least you're going to have other problems, whether that's, attrition and turnover and things that have an impact on build cycle time. So you have to take into account, hey man, Q3, we went hard and crazy and I pushed everybody to the limit. Can I do that again? October, November, December, what effect is that going to have on my people? And there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just, I got to close $1 million or $10 million or $100 million of product in that quarter. You can, but there's a toll. And the only way you really, in my, humble opinion, is through experience. You see the effect it has on guys. You see the effect it has on you as a leader. And as you mature, you have to weigh the pros and cons of pushing that hard and what's real and what's not. We do it in our business. We make projections, and all those things factor into it for sure.
Yeah, and that's I think that's across any organization, that push and pull of, right, because you're dealing with people, you're dealing with level of effort and the work that they put in. And you mentioned the word attrition. Nothing kills businesses more than people leaving, right? And having to find new resources and having to find new subs and not having those relationships when you go into new projects.
I totally agree. And the other side of it for the builder, there's sometimes it's a very positive experience when you're, oh man, I'm looking I'm looking where I think this year is going to fall, and we've done really good. And so you're able to, really take the approach that going into 2024 is going to be totally positive. We're on the upward, trajectory, et cetera. There's the other side of that coin where you've had a tough year, where maybe you've made some bad decisions on product or margin or, those kind of things. And you're sitting here at the end of the year and things aren't as good as you had hoped they would be. And then you've got big commitments and big plans for 24. And so you have to turn that around. You've gotta say, hey, 24, we took some, lumps in 23. Here's how we're going to fix that. So really it's just kind of state of the union, and what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? And there's a lot of that happens in the next 2 months.
And how does the financial picture play into the planning, right? So obviously you're on the financial side, but as you were running your business and as builders are thinking about the year, how should they be thinking about the lending side and the finances that they'll need for next year?
A lot of the conversations I'm having right now with new clients certainly is they're making those determinations. They're having those discussions with their lending partners if they're not currently a client of ours, and they're starting to have conversations with guys like myself. Hey, I think I'm going to be a little short on my plans. I'm looking to grow. I need additional sources of capital. We're a great fit for that particular builder. We're having those same conversations with our current clients, talking about, hey, what's your expectation next year? Because we want to know that. We want to be a part of that, because if I've got a guy that's done 20 units with me this year, and again, units just equal houses, but if they've done 20 units with me this year and they say, next year I'm doing 50, I need you to be ready. We need to have those conversations. I need to know, okay, he's going from a 4 unit or something like that a month guy to now he wants to be a 10 unit a month guy. And we need to have conversations around that. Hey, start getting me some financials. Let me see what the picture looks like so that I can help you kind of plan and tell you what's realistic and what's not. So really, we talk a lot about the fact that we play a consultant role for so many of our clients, most of our clients. And that's really what that means. We can kind of year in, we're doing a lot of review in terms of, hey, because again, the platform we've got collects so much data. It's a very powerful tool for our clients. And we can go to them and say, you want to know your exact build cycle time? Here it is. We see some ways you can improve it because we're watching, all of your draw processes. These things are taking you longer than they should be. And those are the kind of conversations we're having. Hey, what are you projecting next year? Want to make sure we're on the same page. And they're not getting that with most of their lenders. They're really not.
Right.
Again,
I
don't always want it to be a sales.
They're getting the ongoing data with every unit that they're building. So as they're building, they're getting more and more data to make better decisions moving forward financially.
Yeah. And as a builder, that's not a benefit they've always had with their lender. And so we feel like the better we are at that, the more value added is to our clients.
Awesome. Well, this has been great, Brad, and it's crazy the end of the year is approaching, right? And
it really is.
And for builders, these last 2 months are really important as they head into kind of 2024 and getting ahead of their planning as quickly as possible so they can potentially, like you said, look at the reality of what they want to do. How can they scale? Where do they want to be next year? And, with Snap.Build, it's also the data allows for those decisions to become much clearer because of the financial picture.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All right. So before we get off, prediction for Sunday.
Well, I'm not biased.
Of course you're not.
Because an Eagles fan. I will say 28-24 Eagles.
Wow. There's no way that defense I'm taking a little offense to that. That defense is littered with my guys. And so we'll see where it falls. But I've got the prediction. It's duly noted. It's written in ink on the internet. Now we know.
It's out there for all to see. Well, Brad,
That's right.
This has been great, and obviously, the new year is approaching, so appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Fly, Eagles, fly. That's the correct chant, right?
Yes, correct. Thanks so
There we
much.
go. See you.